Welcome to Video Entrepreneurs, guys. It's great to hang out with you again here today. We're going to have a blast talking about all this stuff related to, what was the topic? I just drew a blank. Optimizing for the best YouTube posting frequency. Yeah, Derek is in the hot seat, and he's going to share some of his story and talk with us a little bit about that question. And then the rest of us is five other full-time YouTube creators are going to dig into that with him and give us some ideas, give us some feedback, and just talk about that. Maybe even branch out into other topics, other platforms as well, not just YouTube and posting schedule there and how to optimize that, but also how we post on other social platforms and drive traffic to the videos from those platforms and vice versa and all that. So we're going to have a great time hanging out talking about that for the next hour here. I want to quickly let you guys know that if you missed last week's episode, you can grab that on iTunes and SoundCloud and Stitcher. You can grab the audio podcast version of that and listen to it there, or you can just go back and find it on the channel here too from last week and watch the replay of that. And that's where we talked about, I was in the hot seat, we talked about product launches and how do we launch those products to our audience in ways that doesn't feel like we're spamming, but is also giving and delivering genuine value to them and those types of things. So really good episode for you guys there. So go check that out. If you would like to get a notification before we go live, you can simply text the word VC Live to 43506, and all this information is in the description below of this video, so you can go this live stream and go check it out and find it there. But yeah, if you text that, I will send out a text message notification right when we go live. So maybe a lot of you guys are just popping in now who are coming in because you got the text message for this one. It works best in the US. If you're international, you can use the link down there to sign up your email address and get a notification that way as well. But thanks to my friends at TechSignal for making that available to us. And before we get into the content, I want to give a huge thanks to this week's sponsor, which is Rumble.com, for sponsoring this episode and making all of this possible. I've been using those guys for a few years now. I'm going to take you guys to my desktop and walk you through it. If you guys haven't checked them out already, there's a link to them, to rumble.com, in the description below this video. Basically, their main goal is to help you guys as creators increase both your distribution for your videos and the amount of money that you're earning from them. And obviously, those two things are linked pretty tightly together. As your distribution and views grow, so does the money that you're earning from them. You can see right here, some of the places they distribute to are like MSN, Yahoo, AOL, Bell, Discovery Channel, Viral Nova, littlethings.com, Reuters, and many other places. So when you upload your video to them, they can send your video out to all these other platforms and get in as much money for your video as possible on these other places. So BuzzFeed, these guys actually surpassed BuzzFeed by 500,000 viewers this year and outranked Amazon and ComScore rankings and other places. So unlike those other platforms, Rumble lets you be a part of theirs by submitting your content to them, which is awesome. So you upload your video, you submit it to them, and you say, hey, I want you to farm this out, get as many views for this as possible. It takes a few days for them to approve it, and then once it's approved, they distribute it, and you get tons more views on these platforms. But on your own YouTube channel, you still get to manage it like you normally would. Here's the licensing options when you're uploading. You can kind of see them side by side. This is the one I'm talking about that you'll probably want to pick, the video management. This excludes YouTube, which means you still manage your YouTube videos on your channel on that platform, or if you have an MCN, this is the one you have to pick because your MCN is already managing your content for you. And I have found that typically on Rumble, it's not uncommon to get like 5 to 10 times more money as you would for the same number of views on YouTube. For example, I uploaded these two videos about 2 years ago to Rumble. You can see I got several thousand views each. And on YouTube, I probably make about $1 or $2, per 1,000 views, kind of roughly. But here's the stats and analytics here on Rumble. You can say my effective CPM is $2.59 or $20.59. So, about 10 times more for the same number of views as I would be getting on YouTube. So awesome. They can really help you make a lot more money. And you can see all the analytics of all the different platforms, Rumble, YouTube, third party, you know, right here in their system. So you can still see all of that and really see where all the money is coming from. I asked them, I was like, what content performs the best? What types of videos work best on your site? And they said anything that's like cute and funny works really well. They said anything that's like DIY, life hacks, cooking, news, style and beauty, Minecraft and gaming, they said, has really been taken off and growing a lot on their platform as well. So anything that, you know, falls in any of these categories, you just want to upload and try out. For the meantime, you check out the link in the description below. You can click it and go check it out and see if their site is right for you or not. And if you sign up, you can use the user referral video creators as your refer when you fill that in, and sign up and check it out and start making more money and get more views from it. All right, sweet. Well, let's get into it here. Let's introduce our panelists, same as you might recognize these people from last time. Hello, everyone. How are you?
Hello.
Hey, doing great.
They have microphones too. Look at that. So we're going to talk with Derek, the guy in the red shirt. And you guys can find links to all their channels in the description below this video. And you guys saw the intro, saw a little bit about them here at the very beginning. So let's not waste more time. Derek, what's up? How can we help you with your channel and what you're working on?
So over the last, there's always a learning process, but I produce content daily. So I used to do it between Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday sometimes, and then Sunday was always. So I kind of had Monday and Saturday off, but then I started putting out content there, and I had these 7-day-a-week things. And then I had issues where I wanted to increase audience retention. So I wanted to be able to create videos that everybody could enjoy, which meant shorter form videos and longer form videos. So I took my long form videos, which are between 12 to 15 minutes, and I trimmed them down to 4 to 5 minutes. And I would put out one at 10 in the morning and one at 5 at night. And it turned into a lot of work over the course of 3 months of doing that. And I had, you know, I was curious. It was helping on with audience retention. Those numbers went up, but it was creating a lot of content, and there was some reproduction of content because it was short form and long form. And then there was all the other stuff. And then I started putting on another video. So sometimes there were 3 a day. And I understand in gaming channels, it's probably normal to do that. I don't know if my channel is the right way to do that, if that makes any sense. And I was just kind of, so I've kind of trimmed things down to see how it's going to go. And now I do Monday through Friday, and that's it. 1 a day. And I was curious of what you guys have discovered over this time, because it's, even for me, I've been doing it for 8 years, and it's like, it feels like it's always discovery. Every few months is discovery. Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out what you guys have found to be like the sweet spot of how much content do you put out versus, you know, the theory being, if I put out less and I do like 1 a week or 1 a month, then I'm building this anticipation and people are going to want to watch that episode. But I feel like besides the fact that I just love creating content, that I'm losing potential views because I could produce a lot more wide array of content that might hit with and resonate with a larger audience if I do more content, kind of the shotgun approach. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. Is there a quantity versus quality type of question in there too?
I only produce good quality.
Oh, there you go. Perfect.
But well, even realistically, the editing, the cutting, the edits, and doing all the editing took, I'd say, almost 5 times longer than just putting out that long form video. So what I've decided to do is just do like, I set a timer and then I stop it at 9 minutes. That way I get no longer than a 10-minute video, and with the end cap and whatnot. Yeah. And I don't know how it's going to go because it's only been a week. But I'd love to know what you guys have experienced over the years of, you know, producing different styles of content. What has worked best, and what do you find isn't really true that people just say this is a good idea?
Yeah.
Derek, do you have any metrics for what you've done so far? So like going from like multiple times a day to going to like daily and then now to 5 days a week. Do you have kind of any numbers to throw out just to begin with?
The metrics thus far have kind of, it seems about the same. Like, and which is why I was not too hesitant about making this change. But by doing the short form video and the long form video, I would get about sometimes 50-50, like half the people would watch this and half the people would watch the other one. By putting them together, I get almost both of those combined. But not always. There are some videos that are just that resonate because of the name. It sounds cool, like the liquid cocaine shooter or the liquid marijuana or anything that has those names that you're going to get searches all the time. And those both videos always do exceptionally well. But I kind of throw out those as outliers and go, yeah, anybody can just create a Long Island iced tea and get millions of views. I wanted to do it more systematically. So it seems like everything kind of falls in that one bucket if you keep it the right time. The thing I haven't been able to really validate yet because of the timing is audience retention, because it takes so long to kind of gather those stats. So I figure it's going to take like 30 days or so before I can really get a good pinpoint. But just looking at view counts and watch times, it looks about average, considering this time of year for cocktails. Summertime is kind of in a lull and it starts to pick up now. So I've got this other issue where it's getting better again because people are going to work. So that kind of helps, I think.
So when you're looking at audience retention, are you basing it mostly on the percentage of the video completed or the total accumulated number of minutes?
I go by both, and then I try and figure out which one seems to make a difference in search. The one cool thing about having two videos, a short form and a long form, is I could actually search for the video to see where it fell and see which one was ranking higher, which was a neat metric that it's not worth doing the time just to do that. Mm-hmm. But it did seem that even a video with less retention or a higher percentage, but less watch time does better. So I thought I'd shrink the watch time down, and I'm trying to find that sweet spot. But I mean, do you burn out your audience by posting twice a day, 3 times a day?
It's interesting that you phrase it in terms of posting for your audience, because there's a slight difference between posting for your audience and posting for the algorithm, who will then show your videos to your audience, I think. Right. And this might be a little bit different from the kids creator perspective, but the algorithm likes certain things. And I would be curious to know whether the majority of your views are coming from the algorithm, so recommended videos and search, or whether it's coming from subscribers, that kind of thing. Because if you're programming for your subscribers, that would be one way to do it. And programming for the algorithm, you might make different choices right. Because the algorithm, for example, likes long videos. Whether that's just true in kids content or not. I know Matt Gillen wrote an article for Tube Filter where he talked about a kids channel that they were working with who were posting 4 times a week of different lengths. And he told them to cut out everything except their longest video, where they went to 1 a week with a long video, and their views went off the charts because the algorithm prefers that. So obviously it's different according to what the content is, but what are your sort of numbers in terms of subscriber views versus what I would say algorithm views, which is people who are not necessarily coming to your channel, but are being shown your channel by the algorithm when they come to the platform? Does that make sense?
Yeah. And so what I thought I would do is, while you were talking, find that, and I can't freaking remember where it is. So I think I get it. So 35% of my audience is suggested videos. 26% are browse features, which I guess accumulates feeds and all the other crap, right? And then there's all the kind of the 18% is YouTube search. So the bulk is, the higher percentage is suggested videos, but the from the feed, it's still 26%. So combined 30, I'm really bad at math, but it's over 60%.
The feed is the algorithm too. So what to show people in their feed is targeted by the algorithm. So you've got suggested views down the column at the side, and you've got the feed views, to watch, which is chosen by the algorithm. So you've got 50% of your views there, correct me if I'm wrong, coming from an algorithm choice about whether to show that video to people or not. So, but even that, I mean, that's quite a low number, I would think, in terms of driven by algorithm as opposed to driven by individuals from the numbers that I've seen. Like we have, I think it's 90% algorithm on our channel is kind of driven by suggestions and feed recommendations. Okay. So we tend to program for the algorithm rather than for what people are going to want to see in their feed, how many days, that kind of thing.
Right. Okay. Because what I started doing as part of this new schedule is I produce, I'm just kind of making a bunch of different things that I think will optimize. So for instance, I was doing five cocktails a week. So I brought it down to 2 cocktails a week, a blind spirit tasting, because we noticed a huge increase in people who want to see these spirits all tasted blind and us to try to pick out what the brands are and stuff like that. So that was big. So I dedicated like a Wednesday to that. I did a simple cocktail on Tuesdays and a more difficult one or less accessible one on Thursdays. And then Fridays, I created a more series, kind of like the the ABC or CBS, whoever does that, where it's just something like, you know, how to tell when an egg goes bad, or how to shake egg whites, or the history of tiki, or, you know, things that I am programming for the algorithm, like how not to get hungover. One of my, you know, it hit the top immediately. Like, here are my tips, you know, 5 tips to not getting a hangover. And those, I know my audience is going to watch them, but they're really targeted towards those search. But I noticed that within the end of the day, it has double what the views of prior videos did, you know, in that week, which tells me that my audience is caring as well. Like, they're like, oh, I want to see this. And then that long tail of all the search comes kind of second, I think. It seems to be that way. But I don't know if, I mean, does it make a difference if I threw them all on the same day and, you know, and just did, you know, theoretically do 5 videos in a single day versus, you know, spreading them out? Like, do you burn out your audience?
It makes you wonder if it's coming down to the frequency which you're posting, or the quality of, or like if you're posting something which is a listicle, or something which is like a BuzzFeed style video, which is like 5 tips to do this, 5 tips to do that, which traditionally just does well.
Right.
The only thing, I guess, the only basis that I would have is that over the past year, I guess, all large channels, all channels that have kind of started to shoot past 1 million subs, they all seem to instantly go onto a daily programming, like pushing out as much content as possible and throwing as much against the wall as possible. So I guess trying to get out as much good quality content as possible, but also doing it in a way where you don't care about the stuff which slips up because you just moved past it. And 4 years ago, there seems to be an issue. At least we had an experience of issue with trying to go and do more content than, like, we did 1 a week for 5 years, and then just recently we moved to 2 a week. And we opted for, like, taking our time to, like, put 30 hours into one piece of content as opposed to trying just to produce as much content as possible. And that used to be the thing. Mind you, what used to be the thing on YouTube also was, like, 2.5-minute videos. That used to be the thing that made a video viral, was if it was under 3 minutes. And I think they said the sweet spot was like 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So that's completely changed, because now everybody wants to run past the 10-minute mark because it favors the algorithm and whatnot. And you have these massive channels which get massive amounts of engagement and subscribers, like H3s and Leafies and whatnot. And they moved from, like, just randomly uploading whenever they had a chance to do the video to taking it on and being like, you know, we do this every single day and we produce content every single day, whether or not the quality's there or not.
Okay. So do you guys think that having a video that's like, I've done blind tastings that have been 15 minutes long. Do you think if I had a video that's 15 minutes long with a 33% audience retention, is that playing towards the algorithm, or would it make more sense to split that into 2 separate episodes that are like 7 minutes a piece that have a 60% retention? And you put out 2 pieces of content.
I have so many thoughts on this. If I can get a couple of them out here. Is one, instead of asking that question, I would back up, and I know you well enough to know this is, like, ultimately the question you're asking, but rather than how long should I make the videos, is like, what would serve my audience the best? Right. So let's start there. So is it like is a 15-minute video? Does that deliver the value you want to provide better than a 3-minute video? And if so, then yes, you know, do the 15-minute video, but don't take like a 3-minute idea and stretch it out to 15 minutes just to get, you know, and I know you're not doing that. That's not what you're asking. But just to be clear, like, priority number 1 is just to serve the audience with the value that you want to deliver in that content. And then I would suggest don't take a second longer, you know, but do justice to it. So that's part of it. To answer your question about the algorithm, and I hear you guys in the chat. You saying my audio is really low here.
It moved up a little bit.
Let me. That is as loud as I'm going to get it for you guys right now for some reason. See, I knew there has to be a hitch. There just has to be. It's not a real show unless something just goes weird. Okay. But what was the other thing I was going to say? Lost my train of thought.
You're going to solve all my problems.
From an algorithm perspective, it's based on watch time, which is total duration of minutes, not percentage. So even though you might have a video that has 100% retention and it's a 30-second video, that's not going to rank as well as a 5-minute video with 50% retention, right? Because the 50% of 5 minutes is 2.5. So that got, like, way far many more times minutes watched than the 30-second, even though it got 100% retention. So I would focus more on, and so that goes back to like the better the value is, and the quicker the pace, the better it hooks people in the beginning, pitches value, keeps them watching, the more watch time you're going to get. Even if you have like a 1 hour video and they only watched like 15 minutes of it, like that's a crazy amount of watch time as far as YouTube is concerned. And then the second thing to consider is less about, how much watch time am I getting just on this video? But I would think then from an algorithm perspective, how am I positioning this video to extend the viewing session on YouTube, to get them to watch another video, whether or not it's my video or someone else's video. That's one of the reasons why collaborations can be really powerful from an algorithm perspective, because you're featuring someone else and you're sending all your traffic to go watch another person's channel. If they've never heard of that person before and they like them, they'll probably binge watch that other person's channel, which makes your collab video like perform really well, right? So extending the session, and there's lots of other ways. Playlists are a great way to do that, and other things, interactive cards, all those tools you guys know about too. Using those very intentionally and strategically can be really good too. I feel like I'm yelling. I'm trying to get my audio to work. Sorry.
No, you work. Yeah, and I do that. Go ahead.
Derek, I really want to ask, what's your goal with, I'm sorry, I want to take a step back. Is it just you want more views per video? Or, is this so that you can make more money with advertising, so that you can sell more product? What is the end goal that you're trying to do with this?
This is a fair question. The problem is I like to create video. So, I could produce videos all day because it's easy. I sit at a bar, right? And I make cocktails and I talk about stuff. So for me to produce the video is not hard. And I enjoy talking. I like doing it. So for me, it's almost how I want to be able to push lots of stuff at people because I enjoy it, but I don't want to I don't want to be like, dude, like that's enough. Like just slow down.
That's awesome. And that's a great talent. But my thing is, so the law of diminishing returns, I'm just worried that you're putting out a lot of great content and you just keep feeding it to this 75,000 subscribers. And that's costing you a lot of time that you could be spending. Let's say, one of the things I did is I created a conference in which I brought all my competitors in my industry and beyond to one location, and we hang out. Just a couple months back, we got together and literally we went out down to Nashville, went shooting, drove Ferraris, and all of these guys have amazing distribution networks. Aaron Marino has like 1.7 million subscribers. Andy Snavely owns Primer Magazine. Eric over at Beard Brand's been on Shark Tank and has like a different audience. So instead of spending a lot of time, and I love to create video too, but I get out from my computer and I go out and I hang out and I build friendships with these people who then ask me, Antonio, can you create a video? I'm just wondering, because like Andy Snavely over at Primer, he's got an audience that has probably never heard of you. Or, let's say Eric at Beard Brand. It's like you hang out with these kind of people and guess what? You're doing a collaboration or a guest post. I just feel like we're focusing on numbers, but you're getting an average of 1,000 people per video. To me, you should start focusing and spending a lot of time on those numbers and that kind of stuff when you're getting like 10,000 per video. And I just feel that a lot of your time could be spent just getting your content distributed. If you're really good with it, create a whole bunch of it, but give it away to other people. I got on the map because I gave away my best videos and my best articles to a guy named Brett McKay over at The Art of Manliness. And I remember when he first started that blog, and now he gets 500,000 people a day to that blog. And the content I gave him, which was some of my best, still sends me subscribers and brings me in an audience. I know it was kind of a little bit off there, but
No, what you're kind of describing is the route I started taking. So what I did is with this starting in August is I produce all my video. When I do it, I live stream it. So now I get, more interaction with people. So we live stream on Friday. We used to live stream Friday nights, and then I produce content, live stream the next Friday, produce content. Now I've moved to do 2 full weeks and about 2.5 hour live stream on a Friday night. I edit it all on Sunday and Monday. It's done. Right. And now I schedule posts, I build my thumbnails, I do all the stuff YouTubers do. Right. And I put all that out and I have it all ready to go. And like literally for a week and a half, I'm pretty much idle. I don't, well, not idle, but I don't have to sit down and crank out content because I just generated it all and got it all ready to go. And that's giving me more time to establish like connections with like this wine company who wants me to build a 3-minute video for their website that I'm hoping, you know, they'll send me wine for free. Who cares? I don't really need that much wine, but having the exposure to be on their website, I'm hoping allows me to be able to bring that to other companies and say, I could do this for you guys for money this time. Right. And I could do this and do this. So I use that new time to do more things generating money. I write ebooks more. I do more management on my store. I still have a lot of catch up to do there. So I'm using a lot of that time to focus on some advertising for the store and this and that and the other thing, an ad roll that before I was spending, you know, editing or producing all, you know, creating the content only takes a couple hours. Getting it all prepped is what's taking the, you know, the week to do. So I think I'm kind of heading that direction where I have a lot more free time to start thinking and spinning my wheels about generating the buzz, the distribution, and sponsors, I hope.
To come back briefly to your question about the actual posting schedule, and you said if I was making those 5 videos in a batch, would I post them all in one day or spread them out over a week? Can I just ask the group, how many successful YouTubers can you name who post 1 video a day or 5 days or something like that? Because I can, you know, Casey Neistat and Philip DeFranco, and I.
Oh, did we lose her? Hello? Did we lose me?
Go through the list. Now, how many? Oh, sorry, I lost signal there for a second.
Yeah, and my microphone's not working either.
Did you catch the end of that question? I was going to say, how many can you name who post 5 videos in one day and then don't post any more for the rest of the week?
So I don't know any. So are you suggesting that the biggest names out there produce videos every single day, or they just?
Well, I'm just making an observation about you. One of the questions you asked is, should I post 5 in a day or 5 spread out over 5 days? And just thinking about that, I can name a lot of successful people who do version B, and I can't think of any successful YouTubers who do version A just quickly off the top of my head. So anecdotally, there might be something to version B being a more successful strategy.
Yeah, and I often think of Bad Lip Reading as a great example because I love to watch their videos, but like sometimes it's one every 3 or 4 months because it's a large project that they have to go through to build their video. So you see very little of the video, but when they come out, they skyrocket, 5, 6, 7, 8 million.
That's the model on my channel. So I produce a video, maybe if I'm doing well, a big main video once every 4 to 6 weeks. So I don't have any regular posting schedule, but when I release one, it'll be, a couple of million views. So that's, again, the quality over quantity. I mean, there are different models on algorithm. There are different models on YouTube in terms of serving the algorithm and serving your viewers about making content consistently versus spending a lot of time and making something which is evergreen content, which is going to get watched more. So it depends also, I think, if your content is sort of timely and, related to current things and stuff like that.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me? Is this working? Hello? Yeah. So I think too, like, Derek, when I hear people who are cranking out as much content as you and like I would love to see them see bigger, better results from all that content, and I think this is kind of what Antonio was alluding to, was rather than just sitting there and making one video after another, like, do you have any sort of strategy behind, like, this is how this video is supposed to perform, this is who it's supposed to reach, here's like a bigger video on YouTube that I'm targeting, trying to become a related video to, or any, like, are your videos kind of strategic like that, or are you just kind of sitting down and just making like lots of content that all kind of performs the same?
I try and emphasize them a little of both. Like the cocktails that I do, I try to keep a couple that I know are going to get views just because people either search for it. Like I'll go research what are the top trending cocktails of 2015, figure out what they are and look at them to see if I've actually heard them or if it was just a stupid listicle, right? And then find multiple people doing that same thing in common in targeting those specific videos, while also, because a lot of my videos that I produce are user generated or user submitted videos, I want to keep them interacted too. So I use a lot of their videos. And then with this new strategy that, this whole full-time creator want to make money strategy is to have, 1 or 2 videos a week that are targeted towards generating the gateway to get to my channel. Because for instance, nobody's searching for the Dorchester cocktail. It's just, nobody cares, right? They don't even know what it is. I wouldn't have known what it was. It's a really great cocktail, but how are you going to know? Nobody's looking for it. But if I do a video on, here are Gin 101, here are the top 5 gin cocktails that you're ever going to want to have, right? Those bring in people because they do. Everybody wants that. When they see those, they subscribe, they'll find the other content.
Yes.
And become fans of the channel through that. So I like to have these 2 gateway. Mm-hmm. One's typically a brand that I know is trendy or good, like Fireball Whiskey or Vinique Shimmery Liqueur. If I do a video on that, 250,000 views, no problem. Yeah. And then, so I like to have, my new strategy is to have 2 videos like that, and the rest I kind of do for me.
Yeah, I would certainly recommend you have like community-based content that is just oriented for your subscribers, as well as searchable content that's designed to perform well in suggested videos. That's more of like your outward reaching, and then your community is kind of like more like, let's facilitate relationships with the people who are here. And so that's really important that you do both of them. I'm just thinking like the ones that are intended to reach out, like your niche isn't that small. Like there's a lot of people who maybe aren't as passionate about it necessarily, right. But there's a lot of potential people who will be interested. And so maybe making that more research intentional content would actually be really important. One of the things I want to do with you guys is a lot of good questions coming in chat. Let's take one of them here, and because we are watching them. Heidi is in chat. She is Scandinavian today, so if you see her, say hi, Heidi. And she's taking some of your questions and giving them to us. So keep asking them here. But one that's related to this, guys, that I think would be good to ask. Kind of going along with what we've already discussed, is 1% Better asked, are channels that post a video once a week at a disadvantage, even if they put 15 hours into making one video? For example, if they're doing animated videos, what would you guys say? Are they disadvantaged if they can only do once a week or less?
I'll take that one. I would say no. I don't think, once a week is very consistent schedule. If you're releasing a video every 7 days, you're doing pretty well already. But also that, there's the other model that says you do one very sporadically. It's look at CGP Grey, or I think Veritasium is a little bit less consistent as well. There are a lot of channels that exist that make one video that they put a lot of research and time and energy into, and then that video is sort of the platform to bring other people back to their evergreen content. So animations is a very similar sort of thing to that, and that's similar to the content that we do. We spend a lot of time, like a good few months, working on each video, and then just put out infrequently, but try and do it to a higher quality. And there are ways that the algorithm it doesn't like it as much, but you can try and serve that audience in other ways.
Were you going to say something, Antonio? I saw you nod your head.
Yeah, I just thought that Shannon was the perfect person to answer that one. But I would say that, when we're talking about when to put out video, I find that it's how you condition your audience, in the same way that, I expect, I go up and I make myself and my family 3 meals a day. They're conditioned to that. Other people, maybe they eat on a different schedule. But we've got our favorite television shows. When, we talk about The Walking Dead, people know when that's coming out. There's a lot of hype for that, and there's a set date. The Game of Thrones, I don't even have a television, but I know that comes out on Sundays because I'm going to YouTube and I'm checking up for the latest information so that I can piece together the episode. So I do think that getting people excited, getting them, having that schedule, whatever it may be, daily, twice a day, once a month. But if you got them set for it, then they're setting their timers and they know, oh, it's Monday. Boom, this person has a video. For me, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays. And now we're introducing Sundays because we tested and we've seen performance is really good. But for my audience, that works. Fridays are not our best performing days. Mondays can be surprisingly great. And Wednesdays, well, I use that for podcasts. But I've kind of built that schedule and I've worked to condition my audience to expect things on those days.
Is my microphone better now? I think I fixed it. Yes. Cool. Yeah, let's hit one other question here, and then is it good from Zenat JM? Good to see you again, Zenat. You were here last week. Is it a good strategy to create two related channels, one for high quality videos posted once a week, and other for channel for daily videos and a vlogging, no editing style? You know, do you guys split channels up for this type of thing?
Can I take that one for a minute? Because I've done this many times. Again, I still like the quality in all of them. Length and editing might be what you consider quality, is how much time you spend manipulating the video. But what I've seen from myself and from at least 3 or 4 other creators that I've talked to is, it sounds like a great idea to make all these channels, and it sounds that way for about 2 months, maybe 3. In the end, one of those is going to go away. The other one of them might outperform the other one. You keep that one. At the end of the day, you're probably going to be doing 1, maybe 2 if they're completely unrelated, or maybe they're related enough that you can intertwine them together. But I try and take the content that's very similar and just put it out on a different day, like blind tastings. I do beer reviews. That doesn't have anything to do with cocktails, but people still like it, right? So if I make a beer review channel, I am starting at ground zero, plus maybe 400, 500, maybe 1,000 subscribers that I can siphon over, maybe more if I'm lucky. But you're at ground zero, and you get so you forget how hard it was, and then you kind of give up. So.
I have some thoughts on doing that. I think, I started a second channel a few years back, and we had some ideas about what we were going to do, and we're actually working on revamping that channel now. But initially, we thought it would be a great idea, like the person who asked the question, one sort of for more impromptu videos and the other one more just for clean my space videos. Well, the truth is, when you have a small amount, relatively speaking, of subscribers on your main channel, the one where everybody kind of knows you, really your focus is to build a brand on that channel. And if you can accomplish that, and you can get people really interested in who you are as an individual, then and only then does it make sense to have a second channel where you can start posting off topic from what your main channel is about. Case in point, people will ask me business questions. I run a cleaning service. I've run it for 10 years. I'll talk about that on my other channel. People like to know what I eat. People like to know cooking stuff. So yeah, I'll film other videos on that channel. And like I said, we're working on a strategy for that now, and we'll be building that out now. But only because we've spent so long establishing who I am. So I think the efforts are futile unless you've really built up your first channel and created a brand and a personality in those videos for people to really love and to want to learn more about.
And as was pointed out, the traction that you get, you put the same amount of work into a video, and then when you put it on, a channel which ends up getting 400 views, and you could have put it on your main channel and gotten 40,000 views, you end up wanting the best for the content, and you're like, it just makes no sense, especially when I could do something as easy as like keep the channel and post everything on the same channel and just have different series within the channel. Mm-hmm. Everybody kind of operates their channel like an NBC or an ABC, where I can have a bunch of different programming, different styles. And like you said, as much as you like to think, well, I have 500,000 subscribers, so our secondary channel should have 50,000 subscribers, but that's not the truth. You're going to have 10,000, about 1,000 of them are going to be actively engaged, and you're going to, as what was also mentioned, you're going to go right back to ground zero and launching videos that just don't get that initial traction, and it's going to be incredibly discouraging, especially when you're putting in the same amount of work that you do with your main channel.
Yes.
And I would argue too that if you could spend the same amount of energy to make a video that would get 40,000 if you posted it here, or a video that might get 400 if you posted it here, there aren't as many people who are interested in this video. So it might seem fun to make a daily vlog or something else that's behind the scenes, but more people want to see this content. So why make this video at the expense of making this video instead?
And when you've made it in a particular, we're in the position where Melissa's starting to branch out beyond just cleaning. But you still have to give respect to the vast majority of people who are coming to your channel who don't even know about the cleaning thing. You haven't even established her being a cleaning expert with, the other, 75 million people who could potentially be subscribers to your channel. So you like to think like, oh, I've gotten to this point and I have this much, whatever. but every single day we still get messages being like, I just discovered you guys today. It's great what you're doing. And you don't want to start altering with that by having someone come and discover you and realize that you don't really do anything particularly good. You do, well, not particularly good, but I think you know what I mean. You just do, you're kind of a jack of all trades as opposed to, you know, and a king of none.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. That's why I run a cocktail channel. And as you can see, I could use some cleaning.
Yeah.
Collaboration right here.
Yeah. Melanie Grube asks, so is there a formula for what percentage of programming you plan for subscribers and what percentage you plan for new visitors or new viewers? What do you guys do with that? Do you just post 100 videos a day for both of them? Derek would if he could.
I would say I would like to say 50-50, but I think, you know what? It really depends on where you are in your stage of channel development,
Yes,
right?
it does.
I think,
And what type of content you make as well.
Yeah, if you have no fans, it's 100% search. Once you have fans, now you can kind of break it to maybe 80-20, and slowly you might push away the search when you get a nice fan base. But then so now you're building everything for your fans. Then you go into this, I want to do this full time, and now you're kind of almost back at the beginning again, where you've got to boost it. You've got to do something to grow outside of just being.
Yeah.
So it's a little both 50-50 I would like, but I think I do more for the fans than I probably should for the money. So maybe 80-20, 80% search, 20% fans.
It also depends what your business model is and how you're generating your revenue. So if your model is not necessarily AdSense and you're trying to drive, people to be really engaged with your brand so that you can then get them offsite to purchase something else or something like that, you might be, targeting delivering great value to those smaller amount of people. Whereas if your main strategy is you really want to grow your audience, then you might focus on programming in a way that YouTube might promote you more. So it depends on your goals, I would say.
That's true. And I do a lot more revenue from fans with our store than I do in ad revenue pays for like my equipment.
Yeah. I mean, and if you have a brand new channel and you have 5 subscribers, like making a lot of community content might not make a whole lot of sense. So if you're getting started, I would say like 95% is intentionally researched and created and published in order to be searchable, in order to draw people in. And I say searchable, that's too narrow, but to be discoverable. There you go. And then as your channel grows, then you can start branching out a little bit more into more community content. Now maybe you're doing like 20/80, then you start, to the point where some of these people have millions of subscribers. It's just like you look at them, you're like, okay, let's see what they're doing. And they're just doing like all community content, which is great because they can publish any video and get millions of minutes of watch time like instantly. So that works for them, but that doesn't mean like you're going to be able to replicate that and have the same amount of success without the backstory that they have that built up to that point in the first place. So one thing we haven't addressed as far as your question, Derek, is concerned here overall, and that is, depending on how much you publish, also I think has a lot to do with what you communicate. The expectation is to your subscribers. So I remember you guys familiar with the channel SourceFed, one of Philip DeFranco's channel. So I remember when I was like one of the first subscribers when they launched that, and I was like, wow, 5 videos a day. Like that's aggressive. Like I don't know if I want to subscribe to this because they're doing 5 videos a day. Like if my box is my subscription feed just gonna be littered with SourceFed. And what turns out though is like, no, like it didn't bother me at all that they're doing 5 videos a day because I knew that when I subscribed, like they set that expectation from the very beginning. And so when I clicked subscribe, I knew to expect 5 videos a day. So I wasn't surprised. And I think that's probably like a principle here that maybe we could, that I think is true is like what you communicate, what the viewer feels like they're signing up for when they subscribe. That makes a big difference in how much content you publish and can get away with publishing and not publishing as well.
The other thing that kind of ties into that is that I put out a survey last year to my audience, and I had 250 or so respondents, and it was like the 15-minute videos that everybody wanted. Like everything that people wanted, I was like, oh, I can do this. I'm already kind of there, but the stats weren't showing it. Right,
That's the problem with surveys on YouTube.
Right, and so I'm like, well, that's the thing is the very loyal folks that's what they want. But then there's the rest of everybody else. So I kind of had a balance between the loyal folks. And in some ways I handle that as the beginning of the video, I make it very much towards everybody. And by the halfway mark, the minute we're finished making the cocktail and we're going to taste it, there's a separate series of people who want to hear the tasting notes for the cocktail. Other people are like, dude, I'm going to make it. Right. My personal opinion is you could have got that from a recipe book. You could have just read the description. You're done. But then there's those that keep watching. And that's when I usually talk more to the closer audience, the loyalty people that I go, hey, I get this free book. You want to download this because I know you want it, and you really do, right? Because they're the loyal ones. I didn't lead with that because they just want to know how to make a Long Island iced tea. They don't care.
Yeah.
Nathan asked in the comments, what exactly is community content? And someone else asked another one. So I don't think we were too clear about what we meant by that, which was the kind of additional stuff, the behind the scenes, a little bit more information about the channel and who you are, and a little bit more personal stuff, which the answer to this may become a little bit clearer in the next few months when YouTube introduces the backstage feature. I think YouTube is trying to give us a way to provide that content on our channels without necessarily interrupting the programming of the main part of the channel. So we'll have to see how that develops as well over time. But that whole, where do you post the community content on a second channel, or integrating it into your content, or leaving it alone until you've got a bigger audience, that's probably going to change over the next few months as well. So I would say maybe watch this space.
Yeah. Yeah, I think about there's three different kinds of content real briefly. One is the discoverable content, and that's content that's strategically created to go out and be discovered. So there's a lot of different ways to do that, which isn't this conversation here, but that's that one. The second one is for your own community. Like, it's not intended to go big. It's not intended to reach anyone other than your subscribers, and to deliver the value to them that they subscribe to get. And then the third time is, I call it big content. People call it hero content. Whatever you call it, it's like something you put a lot of time and energy into creating and building up and promoting. Maybe it's like a live stream you're doing with some big influencer, or maybe it's like this video that you really put a lot of energy into, and you're seeding it out to hundreds of different blogs and subreddits, and like you're just really pushing it out there to get a lot of push and momentum. Momentum behind one video. Maybe you do like one, maybe two of those a year. That type of thing. Putting budget behind it and everything. So those are the three different types, generally speaking, three different types of video contents that you should be doing on your channel. One other thought for you too, Derek, because you brought this up a few times, is, and I have a video coming out in the next few weeks, kind of more about this, but so when I started Video Creators, I was doing 3 videos a week because it was a brand new channel and it had like no content on it. And so in order to be discovered, I needed a decent library of content to perform and bring new people in. So I was just making a lot of discoverable content in the beginning. But what I found was, and maybe this is what you're finding too, I was putting so much time into generating content, which I loved. It was fun. That's what I like doing. That's why I started making videos in the first place. I love the interaction. I love serving people, helping them. But I didn't have enough time left after the content was done to work on the business side of Video Creators. And so it was a little over a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, I started hitting that realization, like, I'm giving away so much free content, which I love doing, but it needs to be, in order for this to stay sustainable, the revenue needs to go up. And so, long story short, I've since backed off to 1, sometimes 2, but usually 1 video a week. I haven't seen any dip at all in views and subscribers as a result of backing off. Now I already did have the library kind of build up, so to speak, but that freed up a lot of my time now to invest into, like, all right, let's get a business model developed. Let's learn what a sales funnel is, right. Get a lot of those things in process so that the content so that we're still here a year and a half later for people, rather than like, guys, I'm sorry, I got to shut this down because I made too many videos for you. And that was it,
Right. Yeah. And so you don't find that, I mean, there is a loss of views though, right? Because let's say you put out a video on Monday and you get 200, I don't know, let's keep it easy, 10,000 views. Then you put out a video on Wednesday and you got 10,000 views. If you're only putting out one, are you going to get 20,000? Are you going to get 10,000? Or do you not care?
No, because this is a good point, because in order to have to avoid that type of fluctuation, if most of your views are coming from subscribers, you have a pretty volatile channel as far as views. Instead, I think it would be awesome for you, and really any channel, family vlogging channels do this, a lot of educational, a lot of good channels do this, is where about like 90+% of your viewers are actually coming from suggested videos on YouTube. That's like where the bulk, so you just got all your views are coming from. So you got really good titles, really good thumbnails that are just driving traffic. And so if you back off from like 3 videos a week to 1 video a week, like your views barely take a dip because the percentage of views you're getting from subscribers is actually like pretty low, relatively speaking, to the overall thing. So, and then you also, when you're only doing 1 video a week, so just like as I am kind of now, I'm 1 to 2, each one of those videos is far more strategic and intentional than it was before. 'Cause like, I only got 1 opportunity to make a new video this week. I'm going to make it good. I want this to be not just like a average view count video. I'm going to make sure this content is what my audience wants.
Hey, Tim, I wanted to hit on, I think you had a very important point about that you need to think about the business model and you may need to make it sustainable. So I just put together, I'm going to put out a video on Sunday ranking the top 10 men's YouTube channels out there. And I do this as a relationship builder. But part of this, we built out a database. Took us about 3 months. I had 2 of my VAs on this with me. And we looked at all these different channels and we found quite a few. But one kind of sad part about it is about 20% of the channels were basically no longer being manned. They had a great amount of content, but because either, they just couldn't figure out how to make it work for a business, or in some cases, like my friend Brett over at The Art of Manliness, he just realized, I make a lot more and I enjoy more with my podcast and with my blog, and the video's taking up a lot of work and it's not giving me a return on investment. So he just shut down, turned off a beautiful channel. It had so much great content. And, I see a lot of people asking questions about, I really do think that having a sustainable business model is, you owe it to, your audience, so that you can be there 5 years from now and not have to, like you say, give up and go get a job. Instead, you've actually got something that pays your bills and actually makes a very healthy living for you.
Yeah, very important.
An excellent point.
Were you guys say something, Chad, or
I was just saying that that's an excellent point.
Okay. So many good questions. You guys in the chat are asking everything about, like, you want to dig into the algorithm, to this business stuff, to the session watch time. Where do you guys want to go? Which one do you want to jump into?
I like business stuff myself, but what's the audience is probably, you want to keep it more.
Oh, it doesn't
basic.
matter. There's just so many good questions here. I see Antonio nodding his head over business stuff here too. Let's do.
There's an interesting question about community, which I saw. When do you need to make a community? When you reach a certain number of subscribers, or do you try and build a community from the start?
Oh yeah, Furth Gaming. Did I say that?
Yeah, I wasn't going to attempt to try. I don't know how to say that.
I you know what, I see a lot of people, and it's kind of funny talking to their community, and you're looking at their channels and they have 3 people that view them. And I think people take it super, I think there's a problem with some smaller channels that think that community and views and everything is one, right? And they're talking to their fans, and there's the 3 fans that they have, which is mom, brother, and, and they're trying to grow. And I think that's the community seems like it should come later. Once you've done what we've talked about with the strategic attack and being able to build and search, and you start to see those same people commenting over and over, now you're starting to see a community. But at first, you're tricking yourself into thinking there's a community, so that you don't need to, well, you don't know this, but so you're not putting in the work to build the search because you think that the community is just going to be there, I think. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Can I split hairs over community versus audience? Because I think it's important. At least the way I think about it is an audience are people who are watching you because you're standing on a stage, so to speak. A community is people who are interacting with each other, and you are mobilizing a group of people to do something. That's like a community. And the strongest communities, both online and offline, they actually don't revolve around common interests. They revolve around shared beliefs. right? So if you have something in common, you're going to create this community, not an audience necessarily. It starts as an audience, but then you get the people, like you're on stage, you get them looking at you, and you can get them to start interacting with each other. And whether that's through, like we talked, one of you guys suggested to me last week that I do like a Facebook group for better interaction. Yeah, that was Antonio. Or maybe it's just in the comments of the videos, whatever. You get that community happening around. Like, it's not just about growing your YouTube channel and getting more subscribers. It's actually about reaching people and impacting their lives. That's the belief that I have about this. And so that's like the creed, so to speak. I'm going to start preaching here in a second, but like, I highly recommend you guys get the book Primal Branding by Patrick Hain, and I'll go more into that. Yeah, so yes, you do need to start with community, I would say, right from the very beginning. And even with like the 4-6 people that you have, just start there. Like, it should be really easy to form a community with that few people, because everyone can kind of know each other and interact with each other in that sense. Let's hit up one more here. Question, who was it that asked about teams here? I lost it somewhere, but Retro World. How many of you guys have a team or people that help edit, create the content on your channel? And I thought that was a good question, because it is a little bit easier to have a higher posting frequency if there's a team of people who are supporting you. But the only way you have a team of people if you have a business model that's supporting what you're paying to other people, right? So I have a team. There's 5 people on my team at Video Creators, which is, happened when I started making the shift to learning about business, which turned out to be a good thing to learn. So Antonio, you have a team?
Yeah, we've got about 10 people. And one of the things interesting with video is I wasn't consistent for a while. So what I did is I looked at how much I was making with AdSense, and I used all of it to pay a videographer. And I sent him that check. It went out every month, no matter what. And I had a deal that I had to give him the videos. Otherwise, he'd just be getting paid for nothing. So I lit a fire under my backside that I need to get this many videos to him. Otherwise, he's getting paid for nothing. And ever since then, I have, let's say, consistently put out 3 videos a week, and the amount of my AdSense is quadrupled. So it more than paid for itself.
Yep. When I decided to do this, get to the team, and we're going to talk more about a team when Chad and Melissa are in the hot seat. That'll be on October 5th. We're going to talk more about building a team, and they just now know that too for the first time. So I said, all right, this is how much money I'm going to set this aside, pretend like I don't have it. This is all for you. I'm going to do this experiment for 3 months. You're going to edit my videos. And that time you free up, I need to have this other plan for what I'm going to use that time for instead. And my goal was I need to make 3 times the amount of money that I've set aside for you within this period of time in order for this to be sustainable going forward. And long story short is I made 3 times that money, not in 3 months, but in like 3 weeks, 4 weeks instead. And I was like, oh, there's this principle about don't work in your business. You need to work on your business. And when I started working on my business and made a little bit of investment up front to give myself some capacity to do that, I think I made 9 times what I paid him in that 3 months by paying that guy. And it was great for him. Great. It was like, he loved it. It was a great, what his family needed at that point. And so it worked out well. But Shannon, you have a team as well, right?
Yeah, I do have a couple of people. I have an audio engineer who does the mixing and mastering for the songs now, because the first thing to outsource is something you suck at. So the quality of our songs got better a couple of years ago. I have some illustrators who do some of the backgrounds now. So our artwork doesn't look like stick figures anymore. But I'm also working on, for us, couple of the editing things and stuff need to be local for us for various reasons. So one of the things that we'll be doing over the next little while is building a team in an office in Melbourne. So we've got a couple of sort of online team members, I guess you would say, virtual staff helping out. And the next step for us will be growing to having a team kind of in the office. Yeah.
Cool. And Derek, you said you don't.
I have a team of 1. It's me and my wife, really. It's kind of confusing because we have our Awesome Drinks is our store, and then in Common Man Cocktails is our channel, and the store generates, I don't know, $220,000 a year. in sales, which we're now turning into trying to make money because cost of goods, expenses, all that crap factors in. The first thing I did there was I outsourced all the finances, like I got bookkeepers and everything, because
accountant was my first outsource too.
Like you said, I take the first thing I can't do and I got rid of it. Not only that, but can I not just do it, but if I screwed up, it costs me more. So that's out. So I outsourced all that to bench.co. And then all my editing, my wife does 40% of it, and I finish it up at the end and put the end caps and all that stuff. So there's a little mix there. But now that we've changed this, we do 2 weeks of editing in about 4 hours, and then it all comes down to I probably spend more time, honestly, doing thumbnails than
you should, yeah. But you're spending way too much time on your content, and you need to work on the business side too.
Right.
And Melissa and Chad, you guys team?
Yes, we have a team of five.
5 people.
5 people.
Cool.
Yeah, not including guys. I'm so tired. So you have to
it is late. I'm sorry. Yeah, and we need to.
Okay, yeah. So us and then 3 other people.
Cool.
And that includes a producer / editor. Yeah. He also helps us on our website. I call him our digital Swiss Army knife. Then we have an assistant who basically helps me and Chad with everything from scheduling to handling stuff going on with the other business. We're doing a trade show right now, so she kind of helps with that stuff. Pretty much anything I don't have the time to do because I know what my focus is. We also have like a business manager / talent agent. And then we also have somebody who helps us with SEO. And we're also currently in the process of getting a lot of our social media outsourced as well, because we're not sure where the time's going to come from to keep up with all of the postings.
That's the last piece of work that falls upon us. So that's the last piece of the puzzle that needs to be.
Yeah. And really,
that's something I'm looking at doing too. So we should chat about that in one of these sessions.
Yeah,
how do you outsource a bit of social media writing without outsourcing your brand to someone who doesn't understand you?
We just realized we know what we're the best at, exactly what you guys were saying, and we absolutely have to outsource everything else. Even though you want to control every little aspect of your channel, the reality is you're 1 or 2 people. You cannot grow with the amount of work that is required to run a channel.
Yeah.
I don't know anybody that does it.
You'll make great money, but you will work every single hour of every like you can make it so that you are really wealthy and making all of this money, but you will have 0 time to spend it. Yeah. And that's something that needs to start being shared with others so that you can kind of start reclaiming some money.
Well, that'll be a whole topic of conversation, guys. That's coming up. So that'll be a good conversation when we get there. One, just, I want to address real quick, and then we'll wrap this up. Deviantastic, I think is how you say it. To be honest, people focus too much about making money. And I just, just real quick to kind of go back to what I already briefly said. Maybe you hopped in halfway through the stream or something. But, so the goal here is money is not the goal. Money actually is a terrible goal. Like if money is your goal, it will ruin your life. But money is actually a really amazing tool that you can use to really make a lot of change, impact a lot of people, gain a lot of influence, and make a big difference in people's lives with money. And so the goal here is not to make money. It's not like we're just doing this just to make money. It's like all of us here, we started because we have a passion about a way that we want to serve people and help people. Antonio's helping men have confidence in presenting themselves. He's helping them land jobs, interviews, changing their lives. Melissa and Chad are helping people have a space that feels clean and relaxing, and people feel comfortable, and it feels inviting and hospitable. Lots of, I could go through it, Shannon and Derek, Shannon's teaching kids how to read letters, and Derek's helping people also have a hospitable environment and serving people. So that's the goal. But in order for us to keep teaching people, keep changing people's lives, keep impacting them, there needs to be money behind it. That's just the way the world works to keep it sustainable, so we can continue to do that. So again, money is not the goal. I think it makes a great tool. That should be like a plaque or something. I should put that right there.
Like a pillow or something.
Yes.
Make a poster. Make a poster.
Right.
Sell a poster.
I think the Because it just the way it is kind of where you come into the conversation. But from my perspective, if I can make enough money to feed my family, health insurance, keep the house, I could make zero additional money and be fine with it, rather than what my other job used to be, which is actually making 2 to 3 times. My paycheck was about $200,000 a year, and I went down to zero. Right. So because it wasn't any fun. Anybody can make money if they're not, but they don't always have to have fun doing it. I've learned that maybe I've gotten older, but making less money and having a great time doing it is more beneficial to my mind and my time and my family than, making a butt ton of money and never having any chance to just sit down and relax or do something you really enjoy.
Yeah, great. Well, I hope this was helpful for you guys. We're going to dig into all these topics more. I feel like we just kind of glazed the surface a little bit to get us all like, let's talk about it. Time's up. But this has been really, really good and helpful for me. And I hope it was helpful for you guys here as well. Just a quick reminder, we'll be live again next week at the same time. And Antonio is in the hot seat. And we'll be talking about how to increase average views per new video in the first 24 hours. So what goes into getting as many views as possible right when you first launch that video. We'll be sharing with you guys some of the secrets, some of the tips behind what we do on our channels to kind of give it that boost. So that's coming up next week. If you want to catch up on all these episodes, but you're not here when we're going live, you can find the audio version on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. Just search for Video Creators or check the description below this live stream. You can find all the links down there. And check all those out. And so guys, it's been awesome. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we're looking forward to hanging out with you guys again next week at the same time. And if you want to get a notification about that, just simply text VC Live to the number 43506. And again, that's down there below. We can send you a text message right before we go live, and you can join us then. So thanks for hanging out, guys, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.